Prime Minister says that it is not fair to have a discussion in a public forum when they have not had discussions with the unions and the civil servants. Member of Parliament asks if the minister ever felt undermined. And MP Heiliger Martin elucidates on the history of St. Martin's autonomy. Those are the headlines for Friday, November the 6th, 2020. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News. I'm Valerie Van Putten. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. And as usual, we have a full newscast for you, so let's get started. In our first story for this evening, the House of Parliament met in the public meeting on Thursday, November the 5th, 2020, to deliberate on the proposal for the establishment of a permanent decolonization committee of Parliament. Member of Parliament for the UP, the Honourable Grisha Heiliger Martin, speaking on the establishment of a permanent committee regarding decolonization, elucidated on the history of St. Martin's autonomy.
Fast forward to 2010, St. Martin became autonomous country within the kingdom. So we thought. Between 1955 until now, the Dutch Caribbean countries grew weary. They felt eager to have more autonomy. St. Martin had two referendums, one in 1994, where we decided to remain under the Netherlands Antilles, and 6 years later, in 2000, we decided to have another one because we were not comfortable with that. And we again passed to become autonomous within the kingdom, which is a type of independence within the kingdom of Holland, of the Netherlands. Now, according to the UN laws, there are 4 ways a non-self-governing territory can be reached to obtain a full measure of self-government and to be completely decolonized. That means that Chapter 11 that I just mentioned earlier would no longer apply. There's 4 ways. It's called emergence as sovereign independent, which is a complete independent country like a Dominica or a St. Kitts. Free association with an independent state, which is what we are, which is independent within the kingdom. Integration within an independent state, which is what Bonaire, Saba, and Statia is. And establish a sovereign and independent state, which is, you can say, an integration. You can customize whatever you, the people, would like to have as independence, see fit as independence. The question is St. Martin decolonized? Is St. Martin truly decolonized? The answer is no.
And Member of Parliament for the National Alliance, the Honourable Solange Duncan, in her presentation also spoke of the reason, the purpose, and the objectives of a permanent committee of Parliament. The Member of Parliament also expounded on what this committee is all about.
Now, yesterday, a number of components were highlighted. The history of how St. Martin as an autonomous country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands came to be, the current developments that have allowed us to arrive at this moment, and the journey towards decolonization. Most importantly, however, the purpose and the objectives of a permanent committee in Parliament, tasked with ensuring that at the end we can say that we are truly decolonized, was shown. What were some of the key terms that we heard yesterday? Freedom from political control, self-determination, and equality. When we look at what is happening in the Dutch Caribbean, we see missions being sent to the United Nations General Assembly. Why? Because we have, for the first time, said out loud that there is something wrong with the Kingdom Charter. The status quo is not serving us, and we need to do something about it. In July 2020, the Permanent Conference for Political Parties of Latin America and the Caribbean, COPAL, strongly condemned what it called as a violation of human rights by the Kingdom of the Netherlands, as it relates to Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin. So what is this committee about? At the end of the day, according to the UN, the Netherlands is expected to ensure and promote a realization of all of the conditions set forth in Article 73, and in doing so, affording each territory a full measure of self-governance based on equal terms. What is the definition of self-governance, however? Self-governance, self-government, self-rule is the ability of a group to exercise all necessary functions of regulation without intervention from an external authority. Again, the ability of a group, of a country, to exercise all necessary functions of regulation without intervention from an external authority. Now, MP Gum stated something yesterday that I agree with. It is not only about Holland's obligations in this process, but on this mission to decolonize, we must indeed live up to the responsibilities we have to our own people. Of course, the opposite never was or should be the case, and that is why civic participation and the education and engagement of our people are core principles in the committee's work. Nation building is also a term that I use often as well. When we had the opportunity at 10-10-10 to really begin to build this nation, I don't believe we did. I didn't hear our political leaders talk about St. Martin and the St. Martiner and who we are now and where we plan to be and what is the vision for this country. Truly, truly what the vision is for this country and our people.
And SXM Daily News will bring you more highlights of the parliamentary meeting in Monday's broadcast. And in other news, the Honorable Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, VSA, Richard Panafleck, expressed his heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of St. Martin's 23rd COVID-19 victim who passed away yesterday, November the 5th, 2020. He wishes the family much strength during their time of bereavement. As of November the 5th, there were 7 persons who tested positive for COVID-19. However, there was a recovery rate of 12 persons, bringing the total active cases to 74. The total number of confirmed cases is now 877. The Collective Prevention Services, CPS, are monitoring 64 people in home isolation. 9 patients remains hospitalized at the St. Martin Medical Center, and 1 patient is isolated and being monitored. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 has increased now to 23. The number of people recovered since the first case surfaced on St. Martin has increased to 780. 251 people are in quarantine based on contact tracing investigations carried out by CPS of persons who may have been in contact with any of the active cases. CPS has tested 1,240 travelers arriving at the Princess Juliana International Airport and 5,696 people throughout the community. As the numbers continue to fluctuate, CPS will continue to actively execute its contact tracing measures. Minister of VSA, Panafleck, understands that human behavior requires the need to spend time together and being social. However, he would like to reiterate to the community that large gatherings without adhering to the protocols endangers the safety of yourself and your loved ones. The minister calls on everyone's civic responsibility to avoid large gatherings and adhere to the mandatory regulations implemented. And still to come, MP George Panafleck says he is talking from experience and not hearsay. We'll have the details to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. As we continue now with our broadcast, in news out of the island of Saba, and this item coming out of the sabanews.com website, Dutch State Secretary of Home Affairs and Kingdom Relations Raymond Knops visited the island of Saba on Wednesday and Thursday last. He met with government officials and the Saba Business Association, took a tour of the new harbor project, and has pledged additional financial support to Saba to the tune of $1.5 million.
And I had a meeting with the government commissioner, with the island governor, and a delegation of the island council. And in these meetings, together with the meeting I had with the Saba Business Association, we addressed all kinds of issues regarding the crisis we are in now. And I must say, I'm proud of the work they do. And they do it with your support. And we do it together. And that's the reason that I presented a message to them from the Dutch government with, again, additional financial support, because the government lacks income and needs extra money to support the businesses and the people. And that's about $1.5 million now. We will continue with these projects. We will continue with the help for you. And please know that everybody is to your well-being here and to the future of the island. And talking about the future, I was happy to see the plans for the harbor project, which I visited this morning. The harbor project can really contribute to the economic development of the island and can help you to diminish the cost of living, a very essential part of the Dutch policy in the recent years.
And now back on St. Martin, the issue of bad apples was a topic of discussion at the parliamentary meeting of November the 4th, 2020, where the issue of long lease land was being deliberated. Member of Parliament Rayon Peterson of the PFP, in a very passionate presentation, posed a series of questions to the Minister of Romy and asked if the minister ever felt undermined. He went on to ask how can a civil servant undermine an individual minister, but also how does that relate to that civil servant responsibility towards the government of St. Martin to have integrity.
Coming from the Department of Domain Affairs, and being the acting head of that department during some time, let me paint a picture as to why all the questions pertaining to the civil servants coming from Parliament today, Minister, are actually questions for you. Most questions you received today from some of my colleagues, Minister, to you, Mr. Chairman, are pertaining to the authority of civil servants that fall under your ministerial responsibility. So I too would like to know, as Minister, have you ever felt undermined, bearing in mind that you, as the Minister of Romy, are the only one by law who has the authority to take a decision, as MP Baumkamper so rightfully called it, the ultimate decision lies with the Minister? I would also like to know, through you, Mr. Chairman, how can a civil servant undermine an individual minister, but also how does this relate to that civil servant's responsibility towards the government of St. Martin to have integrity? Minister, through you, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask you, is the Minister planning on getting the opinion of the Integrity Chamber regarding the situation, regarding the issuance of long lease land, and the fact that the ultimate responsibility is of the Minister and not of any civil servant? Because in my opinion, the only way that a civil servant could undermine a sitting minister is if said minister allows it, because they hold the ultimate responsibility for them and for the civil servants. So indeed, if there was something wrong done by the civil servant, why not suspend them Schorsing, ontzegging van de werkplaats. Those are things that the minister can put into action if a civil servant is not working according to the minister's wishes. So if you have an issue with your civil servant within your ministry, and if it is your responsibility to deal with the situation, then why don't you? And not shift the blame, as we are doing. So I would like to know if you, Minister, have reached out to the Integrity Chamber for advice on this matter. Because we all know it is legally possible for a minister to disagree with the advice from a department, as long as they motivate beforehand their reasons to do so. Checks and balances, as it should be, by law. But most of all, who decides if this is done with integrity?
The Member of Parliament also addressed the issue of instructing the Department of Domain Affairs to speed up the issuance of land before a change in government is made.
The next question to you, Minister, to you, Mr. Chairman, is a personal one. And you can answer me in writing if you want, but I'm sure that the people of St. Martin would want to hear your opinion on the matter as well. My question to you, Minister, is if you knew as a minister at this moment that government is going to drop this week, Friday, November 5th, would you, in good conscience and in good representation of the people of St. Martin, instruct the same three-man Department of Domain Affairs tomorrow to quickly start and speed up the issuance of more than 10,000 square meters of land, and to do that right before the change of government is made, to the voice of the people, which is Parliament? What would you do, Minister, if the objective advices that came from not only that department, but also the policy department, and also the Department of New Works within your own ministry, were all negative, stating millions of guilders and possible damage for the country of St. Martin? Not even mentioning the fact that there are more than 700 people who already have requests in by the Minister of Romy to actually receive long lease land überhaupt in the first place. Do the rest of the people of St. Martin not matter if this were to be the case? Because they do not know you personally at this moment, Minister, through you, Mr. Chairman. Minister, to you, Mr. Chairman, what is your opinion on the position of the Department of Domain Affairs in general when it comes to advising on government land? Because your departments are filled with experts in their field, put there by the government of St. Martin to advise you objectively and accordingly in the ways to move forward with a task given to the ministry by law. You see, St. Martin is a very special island, and it is believed that by strangling you with lack of capacity, that they can control your integrity. Because you have civil servants who are expected to buckle under the political pressure and sign blindly. So I am standing here today to tell you, civil servants, I commend you, those who take a stand for integrity and for the country, and who are doing things differently than they have been doing for the last couple of years, all of which have contributed to us being in our current position that we have today.
And MP for the National Alliance, the Honorable George Pontiflet, in addressing the same issue of the issuance of parcels of land and the Department of Domain Affairs, says he is talking from experience, not hearsay.
You know, I talk from experience, not hearsay, from experience, Mr. Chairman. Where, unfortunately, and I don't generalize, I say some of them, Mr. Chairman, definitely want to sit on the chair of the minister. That's a fact. Or something, if you follow the rules, and what I never forget, Mr. Chair, about 2-3 years ago, as a retired civil servant before I got back into Parliament, I submitted a request, Mr. Chairman, for a parcel of land. And as I said, it's not a story, it's my experience. And I let about 5-6 months go by, and then I called. I'm not calling names because I can't remember who I spoke to. I called. I said, look, I submitted a request for a parcel of land. Can you tell me what the status of that request is? Mr. Chairman, what I was told is a good thing I was standing close to the counter because I might have fell down. I was told, I was asked, did anyone promise you land? That's why I was asked, Mr. Chairman. Not hearsay. George Pontiflet was asked that question. Did anyone promise you land, Mr. Chairman? So don't tell me that some civil servants don't behave in a particular manner. Experience, Mr. Chairman, not hearsay.
Now, turning to our weather forecast for November the 6th, 2020, pockets of moisture associated with a low-level trough will account for isolated showers from time to time across the local area. Seas will peak at 7 feet during the next 24 hours. Small craft operators and sea bathers should continue to exercise caution. So the outlook through Sunday midday, partly cloudy with brief isolated showers. Now let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, member of the anti-poverty platform, Jesirun, says seniors are still being harassed by SFV. We'll have the details of that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
The innovative Banco Matico contactless smart card. Your Banco Matico smart card is now equipped with a contactless feature for payments, so get ready to tap and go. Contactless payments are fast, easy, secure, and accepted worldwide at all Maestro-enabled contactless terminals. Tap for transactions equivalent to or less than 100 NAF, or the US dollar equivalent. You will receive notifications via email anytime you tap. Tap, tap, and pay fast with WIB. For more information, visit our website at wib-bank.net. Tap and go with your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. And as we continue with this evening's edition of SXM Daily News, Prime Minister of St. Martin, the Honorable Sylvia Jacobs, in responding to a question from a reporter regarding clarification on the alternatives with the CFT counter-proposal to avoid cost-cutting into the salaries of civil servants, the Prime Minister said that it is not fair to have a discussion in a public forum when they have not had discussions with the unions and the civil servants.
I don't think it is fair for us to go into details in a public forum when we have not had discussions with our unions and our civil service. So I would like the general public to have some patience while we be decent in our discussions with our civil service. I have expressed that we are having discussions this week. We would have preferred to, of course, also have discussions with the unions this week, but we are still busy finalizing the Secretariat for the CCSU, which is the platform for those discussions. I did receive, and I can segue into that, a letter, and I've seen that there is a report on the opinion of the unions related to another aspect that will be addressed also to the unions as well as the civil service, as this was something that had been ongoing for quite some time, but due to COVID had been delayed. And seeing our precarious situation, it is something that has been, once you've made commitments, that you must follow through on them. And it behooves us as a government to know the status of our workers to be able to ensure productivity. And we are looking forward to the discussion and elucidation of the letter that had been sent out from our personnel departments.
And to the Minister of Finance, the question was asked if there are any plans to increase the foreign exchange license fee and what is the basis for this increase. The Minister explained.
In a meeting with the Central Bank and the Minister of Finance of Curaçao, it was asked if St. Martin would consider, like Curaçao, to allow the Central Bank to do the research in regards to the increasing of the license fee from between 1 to 1.5% max, and for them to provide a report for decision making, which I did give the go-ahead to, and I am awaiting the report.
And in other news, a member of the anti-poverty platform, Dr. Randers Raymond Jesirun, says that senior citizens are once again being harassed by SFV. Mrs. Jesirun was at the time speaking at the anti-poverty platform's press briefing yesterday, November the 5th, 2020. He says there are numerous complaints about the quality of the healthcare products, and he expounded.
A senior citizen who needed prescribed Pampers sent his wife to go to Medical Cosmetics. A gypsy was paid $10 to take the wife to the Cold Bay location and then back to town where they live. Upon arrival at Medical Cosmetics, the attendant told the wife, which by the way is also a senior citizen, that she has to make an appointment. She was sent back home and was promised to be called for the appointment. That happened the same afternoon, and the appointment was made for the next day. Another $10 had to be spent to pick up the Pampers for her husband. This incident happened this week. SZV has been approached about this problem since last year, when they stopped the consumers to go to the nearest drugstore and instructed everyone to go to Medicosmetics, which they have charged with the delivery of all these non-pharmacological healthcare products. But until today, SZV did not resolve this logistical problem for the consumers, especially the ones who have to go over the hill to reach the company outlet in Cool Bay. Apart from this complaint, there are also numerous complaints about the quality of the healthcare products and the service of this monopolist company. One of these complaints is the faulty glucose meters for diabetic patients. SZV apparently is only interested in paying the least for the products and is not worried about the quality of the products and of the service provided by the company to the consumers who are the clients of SZV. Didn't SZV specify the quality of products and services as requirements in the bidding procedure for these non-pharmacological medical aid products? What happened with the "Because We Care" slogan of SZV? When people come to us to complain, it is because they are not happy with the quality of the products and services provided to them. Why SZV is not demanding quality and affordability from those who have to serve the SZV clients?
And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, the Nature Foundation, St. Martin, hosted the first choral education snorkel for local students funded by the Prince Bernhard Cultuurfonds Caribisch Gebied and facilitated by Aquamania Water Sports last Sunday, November the 1st. Local students learned about corals, threats to corals, and the importance of these animals and ecosystems. The students had a first-hand experience to see St. Martin corals and marine life. The free event consisted of an educational presentation about coral reefs on board of the Santino boat and 2 stops for the snorkeling opportunities under the guidance of St. Martin's marine biologists. The foundation was very excited to be able to offer this activity to local students, said Nature Foundation's Educational Outreach Officer, Leslie Hickerson. She said that normally we spend a lot of time visiting schools to give presentations about our natural environment. Now, since schools have been doing online learning, the Coral Education Snorkel gave us a great opportunity to have students join us for an educational presentation and a practical application with the snorkel. The Nature Foundation is hosting 2 more free local education snorkels. The next one will be held Saturday, November 28, 2020. Students must be 12 to 17 years old and live on the Dutch side of St. Martin to attend. To register your students for this free event, contact the Nature Foundation at education@naturefoundationsxm.org. The release reads in part. And with that, viewers, it brings us to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening and also this week. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you so much for tuning in this evening. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you so much for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again on Monday. Do enjoy a safe weekend.